Now that we are back in the United States, we thought this would be a great opportunity to give you an update on our tiny house and let you know how everything's been going. Welcome to our home. So, this one here is a 16-foot tiny house on wheels, so it's roughly 16 by 8, around 11 feet in height, and this is one that we really have designed to be able to travel with. We wanted it to be small, compact, light, and perfectly suited for travel on the road. In saying that, right now it's actually been stationary for the most part. We have taken it on tour. We drove right the way down through Georgia into Florida with it, which was an amazing experience. We've recently road tripped with it from Tennessee to its current location, which is in Missouri. Now, we're only here in the United States part-time, which meant we needed a really good, safe place to be able to store the tiny house when we're not in town, but also a place that would be a really great home base for us when we are here in the US. Now, we are so fortunate in this aspect because I actually have an auntie who lives here in Missouri. She has a 5-acre property here, and on that property just happened to be a vacant RV pad. So this pad actually used to be occupied by a double-wide trailer. That trailer has since been moved off, and it has become a perfect home pad for our tiny house on wheels. We have all the necessary hookups here. We've got a power hookup, we've got the water which comes from the well here on the property, and we even have sewer hookups as well for our grey water. And the thing that I love most about this place is the location. It is really lovely here. We've actually been able to park up facing right out onto the woods. There's all these gorgeous oak trees behind us, so it really is a very special place. I'm still really thrilled with the look of this tiny house overall and the overall design, especially from the exterior. The house is entirely cladded in steel. I know this actually looks like a timber product, but it's actually steel siding together with the standing seam metal. I chose those materials to keep it lightweight, but also because I knew that we were going to be traveling a lot with it and I wanted it to be very durable when it was on the road. And so far, this house has been standing up to the pressures of life on the road and just life as a house in general. I still think that after a year, the tiny house looks pretty much like new, which is great. It shows that it is definitely standing the test of time. I'm really happy that we decided to include this porch area. We've been here in some pretty crazy rainstorms and some really crazy weather, and even though it's only 2 feet by 2 feet, just having that little break from the weather when you're entering your home has sometimes been really nice. So for anyone who is designing a tiny house, I wholly recommend that if you can, make sure that you've got a little bit of an undercover area before you get into your house. Let's go inside. So welcome back to the Little Zen. I actually called this house the Little Zen because for us it kind of represents a little bit of solace from the storm. It's a place where we can really retreat to and have a little bit of quiet and tranquility when we're on the road. We travel all the time, and life as digital nomads, it's not always easy. Sometimes we're in really stressful situations, and just having this little tiny house on wheels has been such an amazing experience. I'll give you one example. We were actually traveling with this tiny house from Tennessee to Missouri, and our truck broke down. So we actually broke down with the tiny house in tow, which was a hectic and crazy experience. Before leaving on this trip, we took our Campulance in to get a full service so that everything was in top condition, and not even 6 hours into our road trip we have completely broken down. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. We just pulled off of the interstate, and here at the traffic lights we've died. Can't get her started again. We've got a towing company on the way, and we have found a diesel mechanic who's about 3 miles from here. But honestly, right now I'm feeling super deflated. You know, when you break down, you're in a huge vehicle like this, you're towing a tiny house on wheels, everything just becomes so much more complicated, and I was so looking forward to this road trip, and I'm definitely feeling a little bit heartbroken right now. Hey, fingers crossed this here is our towing guy. They actually had to send out 2 tow trucks for us, one for the truck and one for our tiny house. Thankfully, we've managed to find a tow truck company that is actually able to hook up the ambulance, and then they're sending out a second vehicle to hook up the tiny house, and we're going to get towed to a mechanic where apparently we can actually stay there the night in the tiny house. So that's a small positive at least. We ended up at an auto repair shop that was in the middle of Kentucky, and there the owner of the repair shop actually run out power and water so that we could actually be fully contained and live in our tiny house on site while the truck was being repaired. So it's moments like that that I think really show that this tiny house is staying true to its name. It was a little place of zen for us in the middle of something which was actually super hectic and super stressful. We are loving life in this tiny house. And for those of you who haven't seen this tiny house before, there is another full tour on the channel that we filmed when we first built it, but I can just give you a really quick rundown of some of the elements in here. When you first enter, on the left-hand side here, we have the toilet. So we are using a Nature's Head composting toilet, which is fantastic. In the bathroom here as well, we've included a small sink for washing hands, and there's also this really nice LED backlit mirror, which is fantastic for when I'm shaving or for when Rasa's doing her makeup. That's been a really nice addition, and it does get used quite a lot. And again, you know, we've been pulled up in these like truck stops and places like that where this tiny house has been like our little apartment, and you close all of the windows and you just really don't even know that there's this world outside, which is a really nice experience. Now the shower has actually had some improvements since the last time that we filmed it. What we've actually included is a stainless steel pan. The vinyl floor that we did before was a little bit of an experiment, and it's one that didn't quite work out. So having a custom stainless steel pan has overall helped to really improve the functionality of the shower, but also the visual aesthetic. Again, we've actually trimmed it out in this beautiful tiger wood, and I think it looks great. For the size of the house, the shower is huge, but it has been really nice to have this space. I think that sometimes the more compact and pokey you make spaces, even though you're saving space in other areas, if you compromise on the space too much, it can actually become unpleasant to use, and then you stop enjoying these things. Part of coming home for me is being able to have a hot shower and feel clean, and actually being able to have a really nice sized shower even in a tiny house like this is a luxury that I'm really glad that I didn't compromise on. Moving in, over here we have our workspace. This has just been a fantastic area for us to do our work. I've done a lot of writing here. We've both done a lot of editing here. It really is just such a lovely place to sit and look out onto nature to rest your eyes. We have a few drawers in here as well. So for example, this top one here, this is just for some electrical knickknacks. The second drawer down is where I store some of my clothes for easy access. The third one down is Rasa's drawer, which is super messy, so I'm not going to show that one to you. Certainly when it comes to clothes, both Rasa and I are actually very used to just living out of suitcases now. So that's all the storage space that we've got there for the things that we need fast, easy access to, like, of course, my guitar, because you can never be too far away from your guitar. I'm a little bit of a crystal hound, and on one of our adventures in New Mexico, we were actually traveling with our new friends Zach and Katie, and we went crystal hunting. We were actually hiking in Colorado, and we found some of these really beautiful crystals on our hike, which we've used to decorate the home, which I think is a really lovely addition. And for me, this is one of the things which I'm so excited about. You'll notice that it's actually still kind of Spartan in here. We haven't filled it with a lot of things, and part of that is because I do like the open, clean, uncluttered aesthetic, but also part of it is we want to make sure that the things that we do bring in here are special and have meaning. Over this side we have our beautiful kitchen. The cabinetry in this kitchen is all made from maple, and then we've got the butcher's block countertop, which I am so in love with. This year we've really been trying to move towards a zero waste lifestyle, cutting out as many single-use plastics as possible. Life on the road is really difficult, and it's really been difficult for us to do that 100%, but we're definitely giving it our best shot, and our kitchen for the most part is also designed to reflect that. So for example, we buy things in bulk wherever possible. We're storing everything in mason jars, which is a really nice way of doing it. For the size of the kitchen, there really is a lot of storage in here. We have these really nice deep drawers that are fantastic and just give us the ability to store quite a lot lot of stuff, so that's really nice. 50-litre fridge is not very big. As you can see, it's sort of smaller even than a regular bar fridge, and that does mean that we have to be very selective with the items that we buy, and ultimately what it means is that we just tend to cool a few things which are necessary and purchase more things on a day-to-day basis. So one of the things with small space cooking is you'll notice that I actually haven't built in an element here. There's a really good reason for that, and that is that sometimes in a home this size especially, when you cook, it can really dominate the space. There's smoke, there's steam, there's cooking smells. Quite often those cooking smells can linger, and for that reason I'm actually a really big fan of cooking outside wherever possible. We do have our induction cooker which we can use in the house when necessary. In saying that though, we do have all of the kitchen essentials, and it really is just lovely to be able to get up and make a nice cup of coffee here in the morning, so that's a really nice addition. Also, when you're designing a tiny house, do not skimp on the size of the sink. Make sure you've got a really nice, really good sized deep sink to work in. Some of those little decorative copper bowls, they're beautiful to look at, but when you're trying to actually wash a pan in them, it'll drive you nuts. So I do recommend you go for a large sink to avoid some of those issues. Now we come to my absolutely favorite part of the home, which is our bed. I absolutely love this space. It's so nice just to hang out here. We actually got a really lovely organic futon mattress here from the futon shop in San Francisco. They were super awesome and did a really nice cut down to fit it in to this space, because actually the way that this is designed is a little bit tricky. It's a queen size bed in terms of its depth, but we actually needed it to be a little bit shorter because this whole thing actually is designed to raise up, and we've got a lot of storage under here. Raising it up though meant that we needed to make sure the mattress would clear a few things such as our Lunos control and our lighting switches and AC and everything here on the side, so we had to cut the mattress a little bit shorter just to make sure that we could fit that in. And then over here we have the TV cabinet. So the TV cabinet is designed to hide the TV away during the day. I really don't like a big television in the space. I feel like a TV can so quickly dominate a room, and it's not necessarily something that you like to look at all the time. So this was a really nice solution. It lets us hide it away when we're not using it, but then when we do use it, we can have a really nice immersive entertainment experience. I have to confess as well to being a little bit of a game nerd, and actually just being able to play some computer games in here as well has really helped this space to be that much more of a home. One of the other things that I really enjoy about this space is that even though it's a very small, compact, tiny house, we're talking about 128 square feet, but it still feels really big in here. And one of the things that helps it to do that is the fact that the whole design has been kept really open. You'll notice that everything that's been built into the home has actually been kept really low, which gives us a lot of space up here. It gives us a sense of height. It's actually a 9-foot stud, so it's quite high walls. And that really does help just to make the whole room feel open and light, which is so important. So let's talk cost with this tiny house. The vast majority of the materials that you see in here were actually purchased new. Also, because we were using a builder, we built this tiny house with Tiny House Chattanooga in Tennessee. So this tiny house has a material cost of around $25,000. Depending on your builder, you're probably going to look at around doubling that cost in terms of labor. So all up, I would say this tiny house here has a cost of around $50,000. I know $50,000 for a 128 square foot house may seem pretty extreme, but the reality is that there are so many high quality materials in here, and we really haven't compromised with anything in this space. We wanted this to be a space that would last, that would stand up to the test of being on the road, and that really would be a wonderful home for us. Over the last years, I've just become so involved in the tiny house world and the tiny house movement, and it really is fascinating to me just how much my concept of home has changed and what is really important. I love the experiences that I get to share with Rasa in this home. I love experiences on the road. I love getting to travel and meet all of the incredible, wonderful people that I get to meet on the road and nurture these new and old friendships and create networks all over the world. And I am tremendously grateful for the opportunity to do this and for the insights that small space living has taught me. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this revisit of our tiny house. As always, I want to just extend a huge thank you to all of you for your support. I love it that so many of you have been watching us on this channel now for the last 5 years, and you've seen this massive progression to get to where we're at. We really are still only at the very beginning of the journey. I welcome all new subscribers. Hello, thank you for watching, and thank you all for making what we do possible. So we'll see you again next week with a brand new house tour. Catch you then.